everybody, welcome to the Mama Shoshana channel. I am Shoshana Mizell. I am so happy that you're here, and I would love if you could please subscribe, like, share, and of course comment if you feel inspired to. Now today I'm going to talk about something that I have experienced. Most of the things I talk about I've experienced, but this in particular is extremely personal because it's about not the things so much that I've done per se, but just the fact that I was born and I made it to this age. And I was talking with my son the other day, and that's what inspired this podcast, because he said, why don't you talk about it, write about it, think about it, see how it makes you feel. And so I did. And basically it's about the fact that I still make dance videos, and I still see myself as a feminine, sensual woman, even at the age of 63. And I know sometimes that women have expressed to me that as they get older, they're not seen anymore. They're not seen as really viable part of society as far as the workforce. They're not seen as, you know, maybe sexy or sensual or desirable anymore. And so I feel like I can help represent an older woman. I mean, it's like 2 more years and I'm going to be a senior citizen, which I can't believe, but I'm grateful. I'm glad that I made it this long. So yeah, come back if you're interested in hearing about this. If it's something that you can relate to, or something that you think someone in your life can relate to, or you just want to know more, I will be right back. Stay tuned. Don't go away. So here we go. So this is going to be a little formal, only because I wrote down so many things and I didn't want to have to try and memorize it. But this was a matter of about 4 days. And how this starts may seem a little strange to you. This is how it started. I wrote, death. Imitating death to deny its inevitability by not engaging in emotionally intimate relationships for fear that they may end. Not taking chances on learning new things, fearing who we think we are or how we perform our work, will be the death of what and how we define ourselves. We worship not just youth, but our an ideal of perfect youth with no imperfections, like glass without scratches. Even the living are becoming the living dead. And what I meant by that is that the living are becoming living dead is that endless amount of filters that there are to make us look younger, make us actually not even look like ourselves. And that is quite scary. Sometimes I think that it can be fun, but I'm wondering if it's gotten to a place where, you know, using filters are not so much about having fun, but kind of an escape from reality that might follow us into reality. So that would be my concern about it. Is attraction or youth in women is a somewhat evolutionary instinct and a desire to procreate. Yet it seems like younger girls, in social media, the more they want to look like young women, and the older women feel pressured to start looking younger. I mean, the amount of money, billions of dollars that are spent on cosmetic surgery, on creams and youth serums and so forth, it's really amazing. So why, this was a question I asked myself, is why do I feel youthful inside? In other words, youth is more than being young. When you eat well, you exercise, are emotionally balanced, and have a sense of purpose, there's like an energy that emanates, you know, from within. And thinking about why I'm feeling younger as I get older, why I put myself out there on social media, I think about, okay, reason number one is attention and validation. Attention for all the years that I have tried to perfect my craft, and that if you do that, and I've been doing belly dance for 43 years, that you can maintain that validation. I'm a human being, and human beings, need validation. It's, you're putting your art out there and you're trying to do the best you can. And when you do get validation, yeah, it feels really good. And believe me, I've gotten comments that weren't very nice. And I just don't take it personally. I know it has nothing to do with me, it has to do with that person. And I don't respond to it. I just delete it. So, and there's the desire to represent the sensuality of older women. I remember when I was about 18 years old, someone told me one time, if you look in the mirror and you don't turn yourself on, it's going to be really hard for you to turn anyone else on. So this is like having this kind of romance with yourself, where when you look in the mirror and you try different poses, or you get dressed up or something, you like have this sweet, sensual, connection to yourself, to your own reflection. Even if you're not looking in the mirror, just touching yourself, just feeling your skin against your own skin. That is the most beautiful, validating, self-validating experience, at least for me. Another reason why I still dance and I put it out there is because it does help ease the thought of the end. That's one thing we have in common. We are all going to die one day. We are finite human beings. Mothering myself because of things I never learned, from a woman. So my mother died when I was very young, and my stepmother, she just didn't have the capacity to really be able to teach me about how to groom myself, how to take care of myself, how to nurture myself, because she didn't have that in her life, and she wasn't even able to do it for herself. So I kind of had to really learn and really watch other women, and even at an older age, I had to go onto YouTube channels to see how to do self-care, how to have a more feminine, sensual, life for myself, just me, myself, and I. And, the act of self-care is very sensual. It's tactile, it's self-nurturing, just, washing your face every night and every morning, and putting on the oils and the creams, and just, rubbing it in, whether it, helps the skin or not, is not as important as the fact is that you're taking the time to care for yourself. And confidence to me is the most sensual thing of all. And I have to say that I do have tremendous confidence when it comes to dancing. I think with age, I give a lot less crap about what people think of me. At this time, this age, it's like, it's not that I don't care. That's a more callous way of looking at it, but it's like, I don't need to have so much approval to be able to stand in my power and in my strength. And I believe that does come with age, and it also comes with, again, perfecting the craft, whatever. It's a funny thing. As I learn more and I continue to learn and humble myself and feel that sense of humility in a beautiful way, it actually gives me more confidence. It's amazing how that works. My sensuality, I believe, was my flight from, being sexualized both mentally and physically, through my youth. And really developing and acknowledging my sensuality is almost like a kick in the ass to sexualizing things, to sexuality. With sexuality is not just looking sexy, but the act of actually engaging in sexual, either sexual intercourse or whatever it may be, sexual act with somebody. But I don't need anybody to be around me for me to look, feel sensual. Turning the tables on being a victim by my subconscious becoming intensely focused, on my senses, mostly touch, smell, sound, and temperature. Being really vigilant about, I wouldn't say being vigilant, but paying close attention to sensations. I don't just notice it, but I experience it, and that's the difference. It's a much deeper feeling. Again, ask yourself, do you turn yourself on? Do you feel a part of and apart from yourself at the same time? So that to me is feeling and engaging in very internal things, but also being able to kind of see myself from the outside. So, our human brain, it's very hard for us, and this is something I read, I'm not a scientist, but it's very hard for us to detach ourselves from anything around us. I guess it's really important that our brain works that way so that we can integrate objects around us. We can integrate them into our consciousness. I'd say if I make sure to always take care of my plants and I see them growing, I see them right in front of me, that is, a palatable visual outcome of what I'm doing outside myself. And that is another sensual act, just the act of filling up a pitcher and talking to my plants and pouring the water in them, continuing to try and keep them alive, seeing them grow. And then the feeling of going into a bath, a warm bath, and just relaxing and thinking about my day. I'm not looking at anything outside myself, but the part of me can feel how I've traveled throughout the day doing things that were outside myself. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it probably does to a lot of people. So another thing is the sensual essence of observing yourself, performing for yourself, the utter satisfaction of having created yourself. Creating myself is like a day where I'm going to just do a complete beauty thing, like washing my face, putting on a facial mask, shaving my legs, doing all my grooming, exfoliating. Here I'm creating myself, I'm creating a space for me. And when I do that, all kinds of hormones are released because of that. There's, endorphins, there's all these feel-good hormones, and the endorphins are more kind of like that feel-good expectation of what's going to happen next. And so the more and more you do that, the more those wonderful hormones are just continue to just course through your body. What is the outcome? Is there more? That is what is so beautiful about it. It becomes a natural state to be in that I can tap into anytime. Let's say I'm in a stressful situation. I can just put my hands in my lap and I can breathe and I can tap into the feeling, the memory of taking care of myself. I can tap into the feeling of what it's like to put facial oil on beautiful clean skin and just rub it into my neck, on my arms, massaging my own feet, having that beautiful sensual relationship with myself. I can tap into that at any time. So that is a very, very powerful thing. And then the last thing is that I'm 63 years old, and I remember feeling old when I was 30, when, I was my last year of my 20s. And 33 years later, a lot of the mistakes that I've made and the steps I've taken to heal myself has led me to where I am right now. And that is to always be a champion for all people. But this particular podcast is being a champion for every woman or anyone who identifies as a woman. That you are beautiful in a way that does not require makeup, require any of those things that are external. That is a great thing, to have that kind of self-love, to take care of yourself. A narrative that women over 50 have to lay down and not be beautiful, sensual, and desirable anymore, is something that I just don't agree with. I don't feel it. And I hope that this helps you to know that your sensuality is so powerful. Your right to be seen is something that you were born with. So thank you so much again for coming on my channel, Mama Shoshana. I'd really be interested to know if you have any feelings about this. It's really interesting to me because this is not something that I've really talked to a lot about with other people, per se. I kind of just went about my life and developed this way of feeling about myself, but I was consciously talking about it with other people. So yeah, I'd love to hear a comment from you, and be your beautiful selves all the time. I love you, and I will see you at the next podcast. And again, if you have any suggestions or you want to know anything about me, please ask. I would love to do some podcasts based on members' questions. Okay, so I love you. Bye, and have an amazing, amazing day.